Well, the Dead Sea is a natural wonder, a biblical landmark, and a mineral treasure. But this unique body of water is getting smaller. And as Chris Mitchell reports, some experts fear the Dead Sea could be drying up. Take a look.
For generations, the Dead Sea has been seen as a place where nothing could survive. A salty, lifeless stretch of water often mentioned in ancient biblical texts. But now, something truly astonishing is happening. Freshwater pools are appearing, and inside them, fish, real living fish. Could this be the very moment the prophet Ezekiel spoke of over 2,600 years ago, a vision of water flowing into the Dead Sea, bringing it back to life? What once seemed unthinkable might now be happening right before our eyes. Is an ancient prophecy actually unfolding? Could we really be witnessing it, right now, in our lifetime? Before we dive deeper into this incredible connection between the Bible and what's unfolding today in the land of Israel, make sure to subscribe to our channel. If you're fascinated by biblical prophecy, ancient discoveries, and the hidden truths God is revealing in these times, you won't want to miss what we're sharing. Now let's step into one of the most powerful and mysterious prophecies in the entire Bible. What is the Dead Sea? The Dead Sea lies between Israel and Jordan, stretching about 30 miles in length. It's located at the lowest point on Earth's surface, over 1,400 feet below sea level. What really makes it unique, though, is its saltiness. The water here is nearly 10 times saltier than the ocean. Why is that? Because while the Jordan River flows into the Dead Sea, no water flows out. The intense desert heat causes the water to evaporate quickly, leaving behind thick layers of salt and minerals. These extreme conditions make it impossible for typical marine life to survive. No fish, no plants, no seaweed, nothing. Since ancient times, people have called it the Sea of Salt or the Sea of Death. Even today, scientists agree, life simply cannot exist in these waters. And yet, more than 2,500 years ago, a prophet named Ezekiel recorded a vision that defied all logic. He described a time when these very waters, lifeless and barren, would be transformed. He spoke of a river flowing into the Dead Sea, bringing healing and life. Ezekiel's vision was of a river that restores, a river that revives what was once dead. Ezekiel's vision, a river that heals the dead in Ezekiel. Chapter 47, the prophet is given an extraordinary vision about the future. He sees a new temple in Jerusalem, and from this temple flows a river that brings life wherever it goes. As Ezekiel watches, the river flows eastward, growing deeper and wider along the way. Eventually, it reaches a large body of water, which many scholars believe refers to the Dead Sea. Now, here's where things get truly amazing. Ezekiel writes, "These waters flow toward the eastern region and go down into the Arabah, where they enter the sea. When they reach the sea, the water there becomes fresh." Ezekiel 47:8. He continues, "Wherever the river flows, every living creature that moves will live. There will be a great number of fish, because this water flows there and makes the salt water fresh. So where the river flows, everything will live." Ezekiel 47:9. This prophecy is absolutely remarkable. Ezekiel is describing a complete transformation. Waters that were once salty, dead, and barren will one day be made fresh. And when that happens, life will return. Fish will thrive. Living creatures will fill the waters again. It's an incredibly specific and hopeful vision, a promise of healing, renewal, and restoration. Ezekiel wasn't just talking about symbolic healing. He was describing something real, a physical transformation, a dramatic change in the very waters themselves. He spoke of life returning to a place that had been completely lifeless for ages. For centuries, people have asked, was this just a metaphor? A spiritual message? Or could it actually happen in the real world? Today, we might finally be seeing the answer. What has recently been discovered? In recent years, something truly astonishing has started to happen near the edges of the Dead Sea, something that's caught the attention of scientists, photographers, and people of faith alike. Many believe we could be witnessing biblical prophecy beginning to unfold in our lifetime. It all started with strange changes in the landscape. As the Dead Sea's water levels slowly dropped over time, unusual sinkholes began appearing along the shoreline. These holes form when underground salt layers dissolve and cave in, creating sudden openings in the earth. At first, scientists studied them out of concern, but soon, curiosity took over, and that's when something incredible happened. Freshwater pools began to appear inside some of these sinkholes. Even more shocking? Living creatures were found swimming in them. Yes, right on the edge of one of the most lifeless bodies of water on Earth. Life was returning. Fish. Yes, fish. In a place where nothing has ever been able to survive, fish have now been seen swimming in clear, fresh water right beside the Dead Sea. These aren't salty pools. They're something entirely different. And incredibly, they match what the prophet Ezekiel described: water flowing, becoming fresh, and life appearing where there was once only death. One photographer who visited the site, Noam Bedine, shared his reaction. "It's a miracle. It's the fulfillment of prophecy. It's as if nature itself is testifying that the words of Scripture are true." He captured stunning images of fish, plants, and even small crabs living in these freshwater pools, just steps away from the salt-saturated waters of the Dead Sea. Why this matters spiritually. This is more than just a strange environmental shift. It's something deeply spiritual. Throughout the Bible, we see a constant theme. God brings life out of death, healing out of brokenness, and hope out of the most hopeless places. For thousands of years, the Dead Sea has stood as a symbol of judgment, a barren reminder of destruction, especially tied to the biblical story of Sodom and Gomorrah, which were located nearby. But Ezekiel's prophecy reveals something powerful. Even in the most desolate place, God promises restoration. Life will return, healing will come. And today, we may be seeing the first signs of that promise coming to life right before our eyes. The Dead Sea. Coming back to life. What's happening at the Dead Sea isn't just a natural phenomenon. It carries a powerful message for the entire world. Nothing is ever too far gone for God to restore. If God can make the waters of the Dead Sea fresh again, waters that were once lifeless and toxic, then He can also heal broken nations, restore lost souls, and breathe life into hearts that feel completely dead inside. In Ezekiel's vision, the river flowing from the temple is more than just a stream of water. It represents the Spirit of God, flowing out to bring healing, renewal, and life to the land. Trees, leaves, and healing Ezekiel doesn't just mention water and fish. He also describes what begins to grow along the river's banks. He writes, "On both sides of the river will grow all kinds of trees for food. Their leaves will not wither, nor will their fruit fail. Every month they will bear fresh fruit, because the water from the sanctuary flows to them. Their fruit will be for food, and their leaves for healing." Ezekiel 47:12. Healing trees, fruit that never stops growing, abundant life flowing continuously. This is a glimpse of paradise restored, a picture of what was lost in Eden, now being renewed. God is revealing to Ezekiel not just forgiveness, but full healing, a land made whole again. And when we start to see even small glimpses of this happening in real life, it reminds us God's promises are true. His word never fails. Are we living in prophetic times? More and more believers around the world are beginning to take notice of what's unfolding in the Middle East, not just because of politics or headlines, but because of the clear prophetic signs that seem to be coming to life. Could it be that we're witnessing the fulfillment of ancient promises? In our time, look up, your redemption is near. Jesus said, "When you see these things begin to happen, look up and lift your heads, because your redemption is drawing near." Luke 21:28. But what are the things he was talking about? He spoke of wars and rumors of wars, nations rising against nations. And yes, he mentioned signs in the land, changes in the earth that would point to his soon return. Ezekiel's vision of the Dead Sea coming back to life is one of those powerful signs. A specific and detailed prophecy that many once believed had only symbolic meaning is now beginning to unfold right in front of our eyes. This isn't just a strange natural occurrence. It's a divine signal, a reminder that time is short and that God's plan is moving forward, just as He promised. Will the whole Dead Sea become fresh? Ezekiel's prophecy tells us that the Dead Sea will become fresh where the river flows. That doesn't necessarily mean the entire sea will be transformed, but wherever God's life-giving water reaches, new life will appear. In fact, Ezekiel even mentions that some areas, like the swamps and marshes, will remain salty. He writes, "Its swamps and marshes will not become fresh, they will be left for salt." Ezekiel 47:11. This serves as a deeper truth. Wherever God's Spirit flows, life follows. But not all places will receive that healing. Some will remain unchanged by choice or design. Still, the return of life to the Dead Sea is a striking reminder that God is moving, and the world is heading toward a moment of divine fulfillment. The message is clear. God is restoring what was once dead. At the heart of it all, this is the message. God is bringing restoration to what was once lifeless, and He's doing it in His perfect timing, just as He said He would.
Because the Word of God isn't just words on a page, it's alive. The next time you glance at a map and spot the Dead Sea, don't just see a salty body of water in the Middle East. See it for what it truly is, a stage where prophecy is playing out. What's happening there is more than a curious natural event. It's proof that the Bible is not just an ancient book. It's a living, breathing testimony of truth, still unfolding, still speaking, still proving itself in real time. God's promises are real, His word is true, and His Spirit is still at work today. If God can bring life back to the Dead Sea, just imagine what He can restore in your life. What we're witnessing isn't just fish appearing in a barren land. We're seeing the hand of God at work, and this may be just the beginning. As we watch and wait for the return of Jesus, these signs are meant to encourage us, strengthen our faith, and remind us to stay alert and prepared. So stay rooted in His Word, stay faithful in prayer, and keep watching with eyes wide open. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of these unfolding truths. Because God is on the move and His prophecies are coming to life.